History is full of examples where great empires, great countries overextend themselves like we have for the last 20 years. And then when that next big moment comes, we're shocked.
When's the last time we actually went to war to fight for our freedom?
We won't even defend our southern border.
China is our military's most consequential strategic competitor and pacing challenge.
China's building an army specifically dedicated to defeating the United States of America.
You, the American people, work really hard to support the men and women in uniform who keep our country safe. We, in turn, owe you transparency on what we're doing to accomplish our core mission, which is securing the nation and spending your taxpayer dollars, ours, wisely.
Trump nominees, Kash Patel, Pete Hegseth, Pam Bondi, RFK, Tulsi Gabbard, the left went after Pete Hegseth the most vehemently.
To be a nation of hope and unity and optimism, or a nation of fear, division, and of darkness.
Pete Hegseth's wife is reportedly causing major tension at the Pentagon.
Who is constantly by Hegseth's side and has even requested a security clearance for herself.
Hegseth has even put up large photographs of his wife on the walls of a Pentagon conference room.
They live not in the light of truth, but in the shadow of lies.
The one thing they knew they had to remove from the beginning was God. God had to come out of the schools because God was the immovable object that prevented their utopian schemes. If you want to manipulate children, if you want to change the way they think, rewire the relationship of families, you have to get at the God thing. And so the early progressives, communists, Marxists, very intentionally worked hard in creating systems that slowly but surely removed God.
We want the biggest, most badass military on the planet, on God's green earth.
Mr. Hegseth, I do not believe that you are qualified to meet the overwhelming demands of this job.
I know what I don't know. I know I've never run an organization of 3 million people with a budget of $850 billion. But what I do know is that I've led men and women. I've led people. We want you, the American people, the taxpayers, to understand why we're making the decisions that we're making here. First and foremost, as we're executing as quickly as possible the priorities of President Donald Trump. Achieving peace through strength, restoring the warrior ethos, rebuilding our military, and reestablishing deterrence. Those are no-brainers, and the American people gave a mandate to President Trump, and through him to us, to double down on those priorities, and that's exactly what we're doing.
You said, and I quote, "I'm straight up saying that we should not have women in combat roles."
Because I'm straight up just saying we should not have women in combat roles. It hasn't made us more effective, hasn't made us more lethal, has made fighting more complicated.
Would like to clarify, when I'm talking about that issue, it's not about the capabilities of men and women, it's about standards.
All new at 5:30, a Pentagon ban on women in combat is over, opening up new opportunities for the next generation of female soldiers. Defense Secretary Leon Panetta says removing outdated barriers to women will make our military stronger.
As Secretary of Defense, will you support women continuing to have the opportunity to serve in combat roles?
You will have to change how you see women to do this job well, and I don't know if you are capable of that.
Pete Hegseth is fulfilling his promise to restore the military to its core principles of strength, merit, and readiness. Yet his straightforward, common-sense reforms are met with fierce opposition. Why do we challenge the wisdom of policies that simply aim to refocus the military on its fundamental mission? The pushback appears driven more by ideological agendas than by a genuine concern for the practical, time-tested values that have long defined our armed forces.
Take the assassination attempt of President Trump. In a perfect world, would you want to have like 6'3" guys guarding a 6'3" president?
Well, I'll tell you what, it sure as hell doesn't make sense to have a 5'5" woman in there guarding a 6'2" man, because part of personal security is you should be able to shield your principal.
Yes, women will have access to ground combat roles, given the standards remain high, and we'll have a review to ensure the standards have not been eroded.
Pete Hegseth is doing an even worse job in one of the most important positions in government than even I thought he would, I gotta say.
Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth faces renewed criticism for allegedly sharing sensitive U.S. airstrike plans in a signal chat with his wife, brother, and lawyer on March 15, 2025, just minutes after receiving them, despite prior warnings about unsecure platforms.
You know, what a big surprise that a bunch of a few leakers get fired and suddenly a bunch of hit pieces come out.
While President Trump dismisses the controversy as media nonsense, staunchly backing him.
Are you bringing up Signal again? I thought they gave that up 2 weeks ago.
There was a new report this weekend that he used it in a separate chat that included some family members.
It's all just the same old stuff from the media. That's an old one.
Finding those efficiencies is how we save taxpayer dollars. To find the redundancies and identify the last vestiges of Biden priorities, the DEI, the woke, the climate change BS, that's not core to our mission, and we're going to get rid of it all.
There's no more woke in this country. This woke has cost us a fortune and cost us our reputation, but the reputation's coming back very, very rapidly.
DEI is not going well at the Defense Department because it's dead. The president said in his inaugural, we will be merit-based and colorblind, and that is the case at the Defense Department. DEI is going to be ripped out root and branch because we want everyone treated equally with high standards and held accountable with warfighting, lethality, and readiness front and center. We don't have time for emphasizing differences.
Do you agree that there are some orders that can be given by the commander-in-chief that would violate the U.S. Constitution?
I reject the premise that President Trump is going to be giving illegal orders. The dumbest phrases in military history is our diversity is our strength. Our diversity is not our strength. Our unity and our shared purpose is our strength. The Pentagon is excited to get back to that core mission. It's happening rapidly. The services are responding, and those that don't want to respond can work somewhere else.
But then things, under Obama, but really after Trump and then in Biden, you start to look around and you say, wow. And it happened really fast. The deeper question is, how did the military allow itself to go well?
Service members in the U.S. military branches are warning that diversity, equity, and inclusion policies are weakening the institutions while recruitment is falling short and morale is dropping.
It is simply not in the public interest to retain individuals whose contributions are not mission critical, and to restore accountability within the federal workforce to see where we can find and eliminate redundancies. Common sense would tell us where we should start, right? We start with poor performers amongst our probationary employees, because that is common sense and you want the best and brightest. We're going to be thoughtful, but we're also going to be aggressive up and down the chain to find the places where we can ensure the best and brightest are promoted based on merit, on a performance-based standard, who we're going to hire and reward hard-working employees who are central to the core warfighting mission. So we're going to take a little bit more time, make sure top to bottom we're doing a review. Those who we need, who are the best and brightest, are going to stay. Those who are underperformers won't.
Foolishness with which we ricocheted around the world, intervening, think it was in our best interest, when really we just overturned the table and created something worse in almost every single scenario.
The Taliban's lightning-fast takeover of Afghanistan just weeks before the United States' planned military withdrawal triggered such intense panic that thousands of Afghans stormed the Kabul airport in a desperate attempt to flee the country, some even clinging to a moving U.S. military aircraft as it rose into the sky and fall.
We'll continue to shoot straight with you. We've got your back. We're motivated to rebuild the most capable military in the world. That's why I'm here. That's what the president has asked me to do. But doing so does require tough decisions, and we are prepared to make them. But in the process, we want to communicate with you directly rather than through the filter of media outlets. And it's not just going to be me. You're going to see Sean Parnell and Graham Allen and others here in the department aggressively ensuring you get the real info in real time.
President Trump says the spirit of our country is alive and well.
Do you remain confident in Pete Hegseth?
Oh, total.
President Trump.
Why do you even ask a question like that? We have recruitments that's at an all-time high. The spirit in the armed forces is fantastic. Our country is doing very well. We had the highest number of recruits, enlistments that we've had in, I think, 28 or 29 years. Enrollment in the military is at a record, and enrollment in the police force, fire forces, and all of the different law enforcement groups. We're setting records, and 6 months ago we couldn't get anybody.
And we appreciate your support. We're not going to get everything perfect, but we're going to do it earnestly. And we're going to do it on behalf of President Trump's leadership in making our military once again the most lethal, badass fighting force on the planet to keep our country safe. God bless you, and we're going to keep fighting.
Ask the Houthis how much there's function there. There's none. Pete's doing a great job. We have the highest recruitment numbers I think they've had in 28 years.
And this is what happens when the entire Pentagon is working against you and working against the monumental change that you are trying to implement.
Just fake news. They just bring up stories. I guess it sounds like disgruntled employees. You know, he was put there to get rid of a lot of bad people, and that's what he's doing. So you don't always have friends when you do that.
Hegseth was nominated for this position because he is standing up for the war fighter, the men and women in uniform who are putting their lives on the line to protect our country and our homeland. And unfortunately, there have been people at that building who don't like the change the secretary is trying to bring, so they are leaking and they are lying to the mainstream media. The secretary is doing a tremendous job, and the president stands strongly behind him.
So now the question is yours to answer. Do you stand behind Secretary Hegseth in his mission to take the military back to its roots, to restore discipline, tradition, and the warrior ethos that once defined it? And what about the firestorm of controversy surrounding him? Does it shake your confidence, or does it make you wonder why the opposition is so relentless? Maybe, just maybe, the louder they scream, the more he's over the target.